Hey guys, NCS Fan 001 here, welcome to another one of those trophy list update videos, weekly trophy updates. Today's date being Monday, July 8th, 2019. So hope everyone had a great 4th of July week if you're in the US. This video will of course be covering July 1st through 7th. And it was a somewhat eventful week, not the most eventful in the world. Let me go ahead and sync it up in case I haven't already. So I worked on 6 total games. 4 I got trophies in, 2 I did not get trophies in. Red Dead 2 is the first game to update, is that I am currently at about 3/4 of the way through level 39. So again, it's the same as always, making progress. I will be there for platinum number 400. It's just so boring and just not a fun game. Like, at least give us more content or maybe give us some single player DLC. And I mean, if they ever do DLC for the game, which we know they will, I mean, there's no way they won't do DLC for the game, and there's no way they won't do DLC trophies for the game, because the last 3 Rockstar games all had quite a bit of it. There was GTA 4, had a bunch of DLC, though I think it may have been single-player focused. Red Dead 1 had a bunch of DLC. Some of it was single-player, like a few things were single-player, a couple weapons, a couple trophies, and then the Undead Nightmare. But most of it was online. And then, of course, there's GTA 5, which added in the heists and the creator mode and the Doomsday heist, which at least the heists actually gave more substance to the game, which is kind of nice. But yeah, I'm like level 39 right now. It's so boring, just a very long, repetitive grind. So with about 10 levels left, that's an average of like 45 to 4,900 XP a level. So we'll say something like probably need about another 47,000 XP, so another 45 to 50,000 XP total to reach that level 50. So I'm on my way. Again, it's not that bad. You can sort of see the light at the end of the tunnel, just not a fun game to be working on. I also went and actually played Destiny 2 quite a bit on Sunday, like more than I normally do, more than just the flashpoint and one like challenge and stuff. I progressed a little bit of some kind of quest line, I think. I think it's something from the newest season of it. I got 2 more exotics that I needed, which is great, so a little bit of progress there. I'll eventually have one of those done. It's going to take a while, just continuously buying them from Zur and doing a few missions and stuff here and there, because I don't actually mind jumping back into Destiny 2 for like 1 day a week. I really don't mind it that much, but trying to play it more consistently than that, it's just not that fun of a game overall. Even with the DLCs and stuff, it's just not a particularly fun game to play for long periods of time, at least to me. And I think that most people will agree that overall Destiny 1 seems to be more well-liked. But I am slowly working on it. 5 trophies left, a couple of them are easy, and the remaining 3 are either harder or much more time-consuming. Mainly that Triumph Seal. But I'll get the Collections Badge, I'll get the other story-related trophy, and I'll get the Forsaken Nightfall boss at some time. It's mostly going to come down to doing the raid, which I'll do eventually. I'm actually up to power level 690 as well, so that didn't take long at all. Didn't take a whole lot of work to get there, which is at least good for future missions and stuff. So, as for the actual games I made trophy progress on, first and foremost, we have God of War 2018. I have not made much progress in the game yet because I haven't had as much time to play the game. I've been trying to work on some other stuff. I've been kind of busy with other stuff this week, and with the 4th of July, I just had other stuff I had to take care of, other stuff I was doing, but I haven't gotten many trophies yet, but absolutely loving this game so far, and this is not the kind of game I generally enjoy, but I am really, really liking the game. I got it from Gamefly, and I actually, maybe yesterday or the day before, went ahead and just bought it used from them for like $19. It's an excellent game. I'm really liking it so far, but I decided to go ahead and purchase it because, 1, I might want to go back and play it someday in the future, and 2, as much fun of a game as it is, it does take a while to get done, so might as well just go ahead and get a disc so I don't really feel like I'm wasting my Gamefly money. And I mean, I don't know if I'm going to keep Gamefly that much longer because I've exhausted a lot of the games I'm ever going to need from them. So we'll see about that, but for now, that's the plan, and I'll slowly continue working on the game. So I'm through a little bit of the story at this point, so I've allowed the Light Elves to return home. I got that on stream because I streamed the game last Wednesday, which might have been the last time I played it because, like I said, I was kind of busy. Just like upgrading a piece of armor, that's a super easy, unmissable trophy pretty much. Runic attack gem is unmissable. Crafting an outfit for Atreus is extremely easy. Enchant your armor is extremely easy. So all that stuff is very easy. But as for the other trophies, actually, let's go back and look at some of them. I think everything through there, yeah, that's all story related. So everything through that is story related and unmissable. Then that is an exploration-based trophy for the hub world. I don't know exactly what that is. I'm assuming that is another hub world of some kind. And I think I read that that one might actually be slightly glitched. I'm not 100% sure about that. So I've been making a few saves here and there. Don't know what this is, but it looks like most people get it, so it doesn't seem to be too hard. Fully upgrade your health and rage. That's collectible-based. I don't think you actually have to find every single collectible in the game, but I could be wrong on that just because I haven't played that far into the game yet. That's super easy. That's presumably a collectible. That is a type of side mission. I think there's 12 of them. The artifacts, that is a collectible type that you have to find. I'm making some progress on that. The Ravens, that's another collectible type. Fully upgrading a runic attack and the Leviathan Axe. Not sure about those, but aside from just taking a while. The Blade of Chaos, I'm assuming, is a weapon we're going to get later. Obtain certain armor sets. That shouldn't be too big a deal, though it is fairly rare. Assist all the Wayward Spirits. That's some kind of side quest, I assume. Find all the dig spots, treasures, the shrines. And then this maybe... Where is it? No, this is it. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't know what this is, and I don't know what this is either. So, like I said, I haven't played that far into the game, so I don't know too much about it. And I don't know too much about the God of War world in general, because I never really played the other games very much. I played them maybe just a little bit years ago, but I don't have very much experience with the old God of Wars. So if I sound ignorant on the topic, that is my bad, because it's not something I'm that heavily experienced with. This, of course, is generally considered to be the hardest trophy in the game, defeating the Valkyries, mainly the Valkyrie Queen, though it's surprisingly not the rarest trophy. The game actually has like a 30-something% rarity platinum, which is pretty high for the number of people that own the game. So I will be playing that slowly but surely and enjoying the game so far. So as long as I enjoy the game, which is what really matters, it's going to be fun. Like, I'm enjoying the game a lot playing through it. We'll continue working on it in the future. So then I played Waking Violet. This is a puzzle game. It is bad. Was not a fan of this one at all. The only positive is that the platinum is a little rarer than some of the other easy games out there. It's like I think it's a sub 70%, like it's 65% or something, which is a little actually low for an easy platinum game if you care about your trophy rarity. It's not a good game at all, though. I personally would not recommend playing this one. I really, really didn't enjoy it. You'll get some trophies from completing levels, and you have to replay a level, which I think you're pretty much guaranteed to have to replay the final level 2 or 3 times anyway. Complete 30 levels. There's about maybe 40 or so levels in the game, so you have to complete all of them regardless. Kill a monster with a door, I think, is an unmissable story-related trophy from, like, very beginning of the game, but I could be wrong on that, but it's still very easy. There's an easy place you could do it at. Learning all the powers should come naturally by beating the game. Die outside of levels. There's only a few places you can do that, but it's very easy as long as you know where you're going. I highly suggest following a guide for this, because it's not a particularly time-consuming platinum. You can do it in under 3 hours. Use a hint. That's obviously very easy, just use a hint, but you have a trophy for beating the entire game without using any hints. So you'll either want to get this right at the beginning and immediately restart the game, erase your save file, and start a new game, or wait until this is your last trophy you need and get it as your last trophy. You can also do it that way. So whichever way you feel like doing it, it's up to you. Reach the final levels, story-related. There's 2 secret levels. The second one is a little confusing at first. I didn't realize what you were supposed to do. You have to kill all the ghosts in it. It's just kind of, or not really ghosts, but just kill all the enemies. It's just kind of a weird Bomberman type level. It's easy once you know what you have to do. The first secret level is a Pac-Man type secret level, and it's terrible. It's terribly designed. It's not fun. And just overall, the game is not fun. It's not well designed. The music is ear-grating. The graphics are ugly. The gameplay is really boring and repetitive. The controls simply don't work. Like, you can try it. You'll start pushing something, and like 99% of the time, or maybe not 99, but like literally half the time you will touch something and you will push it too far without trying to. And in some levels you can't use the undo feature, which means you have to start the level over again just because the game basically screwed you. So it's not well designed with a lot of the controls and stuff. It's why I say it's not really a worthwhile game to play. I think maybe it crashed on me once, but I could be wrong on that. You have to complete any 5 levels without using the undo feature. You can restart the level from the pause menu, but you can't use the undo feature. And that's by when you hit L1, it'll undo your moves, and that's what allows you to put up with the awful controls and accidentally pushing something 1 pixel too far. Complete the game without using hints. Like I said before, you have to do that one separately from the other hint trophy. Then you have 3 different endings for the game. So there's 3 different ways you can end the game. I don't remember exactly which trophy corresponds to what, but I believe this one is the one that requires you to stand on 4 different buttons to activate 4 different like lightning orb lasers that you use to defeat the final boss. I believe that's what this one is. This one, I believe, is you have to freeze and you have to freeze one of your clones and push it into some water to make like an ice block that allows the boss to go across it, and it'll make him go down and get trapped in like a hole somewhere or inside a cage. So that's one of the endings. I believe it corresponds to this trophy, and I believe this is the for the most simple ending of just freeze the alchemist and push him into the water, like push him into some water, and that should end it. So you do have to beat the final level 3 different ways. So again, not a game I would personally recommend. I did not enjoy it really at all. It's not one I would play through again, even if it had another version, which I don't think it has any other versions. It's also way overpriced usually. Then I did Drowning. This is the North American, or no, this was the European PS4 version. I believe it has 4 versions. I could be wrong on that, but I believe it has 4 different versions. This is actually not a bad game at all. It's a walking simulator with a very, for lack of a better word, depressing storyline. Because it's a story about someone suffering from depression, so I can relate to it. And it actually does it relatively well, but it's a very, very short game, so it could have been more fleshed out for sure, but it's not a bad game at all. I would definitely recommend picking it up, especially if you're a trophy hunter, because the Platinum Trophy is very easy and can be done in well under an hour. I did it in like 37 minutes, and I could have done it even faster if I knew what I was doing. But to get all the trophies, you have to get the game's 4 different endings for these first 5 trophies. So there's a main ending, which requires you to go to, like, the game's divided up into 5 years, years 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. To get the main ending, you have to go to year 12, like a second scene of year 12, walk into a cabin, then continue walking down the path and go through a gate at the end. Secret Ending 3 is similar to the main ending, except that instead of going through the gate at the end, you walk past it and then walk through another scene afterward. Secret Ending 2, I believe you go to year 12 and walk past the cabin entirely and just keep moving, and I think that's how you get that one. And Secret Ending 1, I think you just take a separate path in year 10. I would just highly suggest looking at a guide for it just to know what you have to do, or just trying to figure it out yourself, because it's a very linear game. It's very short, regardless, though there's no chapter select, so do keep that in mind. Start a new game for the first time. That is an unmissable trophy that you get right when you start up the game. I'm surprised that 0.5% of people don't have it. I guess it's 0.5% of people that started the game but didn't hit the start button on the main menu to actually begin playing. I guess that's how it could get that way. Then you have a few miscellaneous trophies. You have 4 miscellaneous trophies for that matter. Try and swim in the water in year 8. That's basically right at the beginning of the game. Just turn around and try to swim in the water. Try to jump off the bridge 10 times in year 11. That one you just walk into the side of the bridge, walk back, and then keep trying to walk off 10 times. Very easy. Climb the large rock at the beginning of year 12, you just turn around and try to climb it. This one is a little more missable because it's later on in year 12, it's near that cabin, and it's very sort of, not necessarily hidden, but it's not something you would think of doing normally. So that one's a little more obscure. Then you have a bunch of collectibles. Well, not really a bunch, 6 collectibles, but the collectibles are actually very, very well hidden. They're each only available in a certain year, and they are actually quite well hidden. So I definitely would suggest looking at a guide for these, just because again, they're very well hidden. They're like hidden up in the thick grass behind trees and stuff, a little bit off the beaten path. So they can be a little hard. They're going to be pretty hard to find if you don't have a general idea of where they are, at least what year they're in and what section of the year that they're in. So I would, at the very least, recommend following a guide for the collectibles if you want to, and the miscellaneous trophies. If you don't want to follow a guide for the endings and just want to experience it for yourself, go for it. You'll probably find all the endings, at least aside from probably Secret Ending 1, you'll find all of them without a whole lot of trouble. Secret Ending 1 is a little bit more out there. It's a little bit more well hidden. And beyond all that, yeah, it's a pretty easy game. It's not a bad game at all. Would definitely recommend picking this one up. Quick and easy. Platinum takes less than an hour. So yeah, definitely worth checking out. And then finally I did Dagger Hood. This is a Ratalaika game. This is, as with most Ratalaika games, it's pretty easy. It's not going to give you a whole lot of trouble, especially if you're doing it for a second or third time. Basically, this one is kill an enemy, die, complete the first 12 levels. That'll get you about half your trophies. There are 100 total levels. You only have to complete 12, and just completing the levels isn't really a problem at all. That would be very, very easy if that's all you had to do. But you also have to collect 10 fairies. There's one fairy per level. They only appear for the first set amount of time in the level, so you only have a short amount of time to get to them. So you have to get them quickly, and then you have to still complete the level. You have to find all treasures on 10 levels. There are 5 treasures per level. Some levels are obviously going to be easier for this than others. And you have to get all 3 stars on 10 levels, which requires you to beat the entire level in under a certain amount of time. Now, since the fairies and the treasures are usually in sort of harder to reach places, this means you will basically have to replay levels a couple times to get the stars, the treasures, and the fairies on it. It's often recommended that you go straight for the fairy and then grab the treasures and then complete the level, and then you replay the level going for the 3 stars the time, because beating the levels in under the amount of time is generally quite easy. I would recommend going for all the treasures and the stars and the fairies on the first 10 levels of the game, or the first 11 levels of the game. Because you can really the first 11 levels. It started level 12, I'm not sure exactly how I would have gotten everything, but I wasn't really caring that much at that point because the game is really not good. Yeah, it's definitely one of my least favorite Ratalaika games just because the controls are really, really bad with jumping. Like, the double jump doesn't always work. Sometimes your character just dives away. Throwing the dagger gets really annoying, especially when it gets caught up on random objects for no reason. The hit detection is really dumb. Like, oftentimes, there were multiple times, at least on one level, where I kept dying from touching a spike that I was clearly further than, like landing in a safe spot, and it kept being just really dumb. So definitely not a game that I enjoyed, but it is at least an easy platinum trophy. It can be done in under an hour. It can be done in under half an hour if you really know what you're doing, probably. And it's like a 2.5 out of 10. I'd say it's more like a 2.5 out of 10, at least on your first playthrough, getting used to the bad controls and the weird gameplay. Oh yeah, the music will haunt your nightmares as well, because it's one like 30-second long track that repeats for your entire experience. Thankfully, it is a short Ratalaika game. So, with that, level 67, 2%. I hit level 67 when I played Dagger Hood. 16,600 total trophies, 383 platinums, 2,170 golds, 4,217 silvers, 9,830 bronzes. So, now to discuss upcoming plans for both streams and for trophies. So, for the upcoming week, I will continue my work on God of War and Red Dead 2. With the daily challenges and stuff. Actually, Sunday was the first day I ever completed every single daily challenge in one day. I never have done all 7. I usually only get like 5 of them because there's usually a couple that are more annoying that I don't want to bother with. And I'll log on to Destiny 2 next Sunday just to continue making a little bit of progress on it slowly. I tried doing One-Eyed Kutka on the Vita, but it's actually not even cross-buy, which is hilarious and also pathetic. So another major focus this week, though, is we're getting back into Uncharted 2. So for those who don't remember, we were boosting Uncharted 2. There's a good chance I might stream this again because you guys seem to actually really enjoy that stream. And that way I wouldn't have to sacrifice my Wednesday stream because, well, that's not necessarily true because we might not be able to boost Wednesday because there's usually like one person that can't boost on Wednesday. So I don't know. Wednesday stream will either be more Uncharted 2 or it'll be more God of War, depending on if we get to boost it or not. But the only two things left are the 2,500 kills and the 50 deathmatch wins. We will be getting Uncharted 2 done. I've said it before. I'll say it again. We're going to finish Uncharted 2. I'm not worried about finishing Uncharted 2. It's not that much more, and we're going to get it done. I have no doubt in my mind that Uncharted 2 is going to be 100%. It's the big boy, Uncharted 3, that I'm a little more worried about. And actually, is there a better way to maybe sort these? No, because this is going to take a while to scroll to, so I'll be back in a second. Uncharted 3 hiding out there near the bottom of my list because it was my first Uncharted Platinum. It was like my 13th or 14th overall Platinum. Now, the good news is I've gotten the DLCs working. Thankfully, I fixed the issues. It was something to do with the free-to-play version. It seems that if you have the free-to-play version, that doesn't work properly with the DLCs. Because I now have 2 discs of the game. The first one is the Game of the Year edition, which worked perfectly fine. No issues with that. And then the other one is just a regular version, but it's on a PS3 that already has all the DLCs installed separately. And it seems to be working. The only problem was I couldn't fully test it just because the servers were being stupid that day when I was trying to test it. So, Flashback 1, a lot of the trophies in these DLCs overall are related to multiplayer stuff, which can be boosted. Like, for example, 50 matches of TDM, hanging their medals on crushing. Well, that's in co-op, I think. But, like, assassin medals, 3 medal pickup medals. Wait, what? 3 medal pick... What? What kind of stupid name is that? 50 commando medals, 50 double down medals, stuff like that. Whereas Shades... You know, it's kind of funny because... I'm not... I would assume that some of these trophies are for medals from the actual multiplayer, yet Shades is a co-op DLC pack. So, yeah, that's kind of funny. The biggest threats are the treasure sets, because that's the most painful part. But from what I can tell, you might be able to do the treasure sets in split screen even once the servers are down. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that. But we might be able to do that offline in split screen once the servers have shut down. So if that's true, if you don't need to be online to do the treasures, then that would be put off until later because that would be less of a priority, and that's a very time-consuming process. But yeah, the trophies for Uncharted 3 are more heavily split between actual co-op and multiplayer, and the co-op trophies are much, much harder in this game. Because like there are some, what look like some really, really difficult ones. Like the crushing stuff probably isn't terrible overall. But, like, this Curator medal, I think, is pretty hard. You have to, like, protect a statue or something. The other co-op map stuff, there's, like, this one. Kill all 3 end bosses within 20 seconds of each other on crushing. That sounds horrible. Stuff like that. Like, so I don't really know how hard all that's going to be, but we're going to get as much Uncharted 3 done as we can, but I'm just not fully confident in getting the whole thing done. Because Uncharted 2 has taken a lot longer than we wanted, and Uncharted 3 takes even longer than Uncharted 2, and we only have about 7 weeks left until the servers go down. So I hope we can get a good amount of it done. I mean, it's not like it's going to be, I'm going to quit my account or something or start a new account because of this, because I already have unobtainable games on my list, for those who forget or ask about it sometimes. I have 2 unobtainable games on my list. I have Homefront 1 with 7 unobtainable trophies, including the Platinum. I have Hasbro Family Game Night. I'm still missing a few trophies I can actually still get, but it is the Platinum and 1 trophy are unobtainable, so 2 unobtainable trophies total in that game. So it's not like I'd be starting a new account or anything, but I want it to be as complete as possible. I'd love to have a 99% account at some point, would be ideal. So Uncharted 2 is the main old game focus in this week coming up, as well as Red Dead 2 and God of War. And then as for streaming this week or in the future, it was a really successful week this past week, and it was actually really fun playing Detroit Become Human on Saturday, just doing like a random run of how I would have played the game while somewhat inebriated. And it was actually a lot of fun, and I definitely want to continue that. That'll probably only be 2 more streams, though, because that's not a particularly long game. So I want to be doing more Twitter polls with you guys, deciding on the game that I stream. So please follow my Twitter And I will probably put in both the description and at the very beginning of the video a follow me on Twitter type thing so that you can participate in those polls and stuff to help decide on random games to play, because there are times where I want to go play just other completely random games that are really just sort of out there, things that were not being viewed previously, including games that aren't for trophies like Detroit. Like, I want to finish that eventually. I think it's a fun game. I'd love to finish playing through it again as like a full new playthrough. I kind of sometimes want to go back to like Resident Evil 4 because I always promised I would do a Let's Play of Separate Ways in Resident Evil 4. Could do that in a stream. Go back and play old Call of Duty games in a stream, both for fun and for trophies and for like Zombies DLC stuff. Wolfenstein 2, I'm going to play that on my alt account. I promised if I ever win the lottery, I will put it on my main account and play it on my main account, because it's not like I'll have anything else to do in life aside from suffer through that game and other games that I probably don't want to play, but I can then make YouTube my job if I ever win the lottery. So I guess quote me on that one, or clip this if you were allowed to do that. Anyway, so yeah, the main focuses this week are Red Dead 2, God of War, and Uncharted 2. And we'll see about streaming for future streams. I don't really know what the stream schedule is going to be like this week, because we're trying to get back into Uncharted 2 this week. So we'll see about everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you this week for the typical videos and hopefully a couple of streams along the way. We'll see how the schedule decides to work out. Again, you might want to follow me on Twitter, and I can post more updates over there. So thanks for tuning in, and see you guys later this week.